Alex, Keith and Lance aren't gay, they're just frenemies.
No, Brian, there's something more here. I can just feel it.
What are you talking about? Just because they fight a lot doesn't mean that they're in love with each other. If anything, their banter sounds a lot like ours. We're not gay, right? What? God damn it!
Voltron Legendary Defender is one of those reboots that no one asked for, but here it is, I guess. Now, sometimes it's so dumb that I end up doodling things all over my notes for this video. There were some genuine good moments, and as much as it tried to explain things that don't make sense or no one asked explanations for, I'd say it's a solid show. A lot better than... To be honest, most of the episodes boil down to, oh no, guys, a bad thing happened. Oh no, the system failed. I'll hack into the mainframe. I like food, get it? It's funny. Keith is dumb. Haha. This is dumb. I'm leaving. But you know what? Every time I look into my comments section, all I see is, can you do Keith and Lance from Voltron? 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 Are you gay? Alright, I'm doing it. So basically, the Keith and Lance situation isn't really something that you can go into deep analysis with. Thinking that Keith and Lance are butt buddies or that they're meant for each other isn't necessarily wrong, but it's like speculating that Karan was the lead singer of a glam rock band in the 70s. Like, there's a chance, and you might find evidence, but I couldn't say for sure. So this couple isn't a Sherlock, an obvious queerbait, or a Hannibal, where the characters are basically confirmed in the show. This is a fun ship. This is a ship that makes sense. It could be real, it could also not be. We're here to talk about why it might be, and why it's totally valid to see it that way. I mean, Chandler and Monica weren't supposed to end up together in Friends, but that went pretty well. Now what's so enticing about Klance, the ship name, is the romantic comedy situation. Two people who hate each other, but have extreme sexual tension. And yes, Lance and the mullet definitely have some.
Oh, so they're like two, tsunderes?
What? No, shut up, Brian!
So when they first start off the show, they're still at that weird academy thing I forgot the name of, and Lance is the overcompensating dude bro. He has friends named Hunk and Pidge, and they do wacky stuff together. But as we see, Lance knows Keith. Keith doesn't know Lance, but Lance has definitely fantasized about Keith. Lance has been noticing a guy called Keith. Keith, the guy with the mullet that always tries to one-up him.
No way! Oh, he is not going to beat us in there! That guy is always trying to one-up me!
To be clear, Keith doesn't know who the hell he is. But somehow, Lance has this weird idea that they're arch enemies for no reason. You know, like, that guy you hate because his polos just piss you off. You know that guy? His polos just look so good and tight on him, they just piss you off. That guy.
Yeah, screw that guy.
Right?
So further on, Keith is breaking out this guy named Shiro. He was captured and then he came back like Jesus, so he needs some saving. Both Keith and Lance and his friends want to save him. This causes issues. Now I know myself. This video is going to be like 5 hours long if I can't cut this down. Long story short, they find some lions and frozen people named Allura and Karan, and they form this lion robot thing named Voltron. Yay? Let's talk about sexual tension now. For the time being, every time Keith and Lance are together, they're at each other's throats. But they have to be a team. It's difficult for Keith and Lance to work together. They've established this weird rivalry, and now they can't get out of it. But they're forced into situations together, partly because comic relief, and partly because they're a team, and they have to work together in Voltron.
You know, like we're totally connected. No secrets, no barriers, no nothing. Brothers all the way. I love you guys.
They even start professing their undying love for each other.
I actually don't hate you right now.
Even if they don't like each other, they're forced to help each other and work together. And that builds a bond over time.
I say Vol, and you say Tron. Vol? Voltron?
So there's some dissonance here. But Keith is trying. I'm trying. And eventually they do grow on each other. In a gay way.
Lance, are you okay? We did it. We are a good team.
Now, I'm not denying that bros can stare lovingly into each other's eyes, but I don't think that's what bros are known for exactly.
Don't make it gay, Alex!
Although perhaps Lance may not be as into it.
It sounds like the mice did more than you, though. I punched Sendak! Yeah, apparently after I emerged from a coma and shot his arm off. We had a bonding moment! I cradled you in my arms! Nope, don't remember. Didn't happen.
Poor Keith just wants to be acknowledged for his cradling skills. Except Lance actually does remember, and he's just playing dumb.
Oh, come on! I thought we bonded! Keith? Buddy? My man?
Perhaps the repercussions of a homophobic society that Lance was raised in on Earth. Why else would he deny something he remembers? Is he ashamed of himself? Again, even with Lance repressing everything deep down, they still manage to work together. Keith acknowledges that Lance has good ideas. How romantic!
You got a better idea? I do. We sneak into the control room to shut down the bay doors. That'll trap the ships in. That actually is a better idea.
But you know what? This isn't something you can brush off. They save each other's lives every day.
Keith! Keith! Come on!
You don't just forget someone saving your life. That creates a bond. Sure, they may not want to fondle each other or whatever, but they do have a bond. A profound bond. Their rivalry becomes less of a I hate you thing to a we do friendly banter thing. It might one day become a let's pounce on each other thing. Maybe. One day. Now this gets kind of annoying because it's like they're trying to make this a romantic comedy. Let me demonstrate. Welcome to Trope Check with Alexander Charles. Today we're going to be discussing Keith and Lance. Stuck in an elevator. Gay or gay? Characters dislike each other. Characters are shirtless for no reason. Trapped in an elevator? Placed in suggestive position? Close proximity! They might as well replace Lance with Jennifer Aniston already. Now, as much as Keith tries to be Snape, he eventually comes around and he realizes that he needs to be a part of the team.
Without you, the team cannot form Voltron.
If Keith liked Lance, even as a friend, he would never say it. He's too stubborn. Even though they're a team, they have this weird rivalry thing in the way of their relationship. It's like when the person who likes you in kindergarten is also the one that throws dirt on you all the time just to get attention and hide their feelings. Only one? Me? Okay. But they're also paired together a lot. A lot of that is a comic relief thing, but a lot of that may be a gay thing. When Shiro is gone and Keith is the living embodiment of a G-note, Lance is the one who's there to comfort him.
Hey man, listen, we all miss Shiro. I remember what a thrill it was just to meet him for the first time when the two of us carried him out of that garrison hospital. We're all right there with you. But you know that he would be the first one to tell us that we have to move on.
And as Shiro is gone, the team is in desperate need of leadership. They look to Keith, even though Keith doesn't feel up to it. But Lance believes in Keith. He fills the emotional support void that Samurai Jack left behind. Old Lance would want to be the new leader of Voltron, but new Lance respects Keith's leadership. Keith also supports Lance when Lance is having doubts. Eventually Samurai Jack returns, but now that Allura's filled his space, there isn't enough lions to go around. Lance feels like the weakest link and tells Keith that he should be the one to leave. But Keith doesn't think so. Keith wants him on the team. He wants Lance on the team.
I've been doing some math. With Shiro back, that makes 6 paladins. But there are only 5 lions, and if I'm right, that's 1 paladin too many. Solid math. Look, when Shiro takes over the black lion, you're going to want your red lion back. If I get a lion, that means I'd have to take blue from Allura. She's progressed a lot faster than any of us did. So, maybe the best thing I can do for the team is step aside.
What are you talking about? And just focus on your missions. Things will work themselves out.
Okay. Thanks.
And Lance, leave the math to Pitch.
So in Season 4, Keith distances himself from the team because of course he's a loner, and decides to join this other rebel fighting group thing. It's not a cold thing though, because they all hug before he leaves and it's sad. And Lance is sad because, you know, his bed will be cold at night. He shows up a little at the end of Season 4, and what happens next with him and the team, we'll see in Season 5. So now that we've talked about Keith and Lance, let's talk a little bit about Keith and Lance. Now, I don't know about you, but I find the idea of all alien civilizations in the universe having the same socially constructed gender roles and binary sexes, I find it very unlikely that even one alien race shares the same concepts of gender that Earth does. So I find it very difficult to call Lance straight when he's flirting with, like, every alien ever? And I know they're trying to make the aliens seem like they're women by putting eyelashes and dresses on them, but that just seems so outdated. It's almost like the writers and animators live in a heteronormative society.
Really makes you think.
I'm not going to say that this show is making some progressive social commentary on a clearly pansexual man, but from a pragmatic point of view, the idea that Lance only flirts with females doesn't make sense. I know this is a show about lions turning into robots, but if the writers came up with a BS scientific explanation for that, then they better know something about alien genders. I feel like LGBTQ+ representation can be beautifully subbed up by this scene in Voltron.
I ran the bioluminescent pattern through a variety of code-breaking sequences, including this homemade virtual Turing machine. Of course, I had to make a few tweaks to the original design because, obviously, there have been several advancements since he designed it. Although you have to admit, Turing was a shining light in the world of science in an age when far too many were still—
Pidge just wants to talk about gay icon Alan Turing, but everyone says to shut up. Oh, Pidge. Going off on one of those gay rants. Ha ha ha. It's funny because queer people regularly get shut out of conversations in real life and have their videos demonetized. Yep, some writer somewhere definitely has a sense of humor. LGBTQ+ fiction is lacking in all forms of media. And although I don't think Klance is a queerbait, I don't think it would be a bad idea to have some representation for LGBTQ+ people in the show. I mean, they already kinda made everyone ambiguously brown, so ambiguously queer, and I think it might be a possibility, since some of the same people that worked on Legend of Korra are also working on Voltron. You know, Legend of Korra, the animated show that made a popular lesbian pairing canon? Yeah, that one. Pidge's gender may also be an indication that the writers are not afraid of LGBT storylines. Although Pidge identifies as a girl, as Pidge said explicitly, it's undeniable that trans people can identify themselves with Pidge in some ways. Just take this scene.
I'll just hold it.
Voltron is not a big network show. It's a show on Netflix, a streaming service that gives the writers a lot more liberty to do what they please with the show. The writers aren't afraid of LGBT storylines, and thinking that there might be one in the future isn't crazy. Keith and Lance have great potential to be close friends. They also have great potential to be lovers. And in the end, it's a show about a team. They'll always be together. They'll always be together more than they are apart. Friends, lovers, enemies, or frenemies. Keith and Lance is a fun pair to watch. But are they gay? You decide. So, have I convinced you?
I don't know. I still think they can have a platonic relationship without it being romantic. Like you and me.
Yeah, sure.
Where are you going?
Hi. I'd like to return an engagement ring. Yeah, the one that says Brian. The engravement says, light of my life, fire to my loins. Yeah, fire to my loins. Yeah, loins. Yeah.